Hello, some of you have requested a behind the scenes video of here at Plainly Difficult to see what equipment and software I use. Well, I thought I'd do an overview of my current setup, as in a few months' time it's all moving to a new home. First of all, you all have to admire my cable drawers. Just look at the mess, I love it. Well, without further ado, let's begin with my general process for making videos. Well, it's pretty straightforward. First I research and write the script, then record the voiceover, and finally build the video around that. I produce the videos linearly, so from start to finish along a timeline. I do have to go back and add in footage occasionally or do voice re-records. Audio is always recorded into Logic, mainly because I've used the software since the eMagic days and it's where I feel at home. I produce all of my characters on Affinity Designer, with all my photograph alterations being done on GIMP. Finally, it all gets arranged, glued, sellotaped and stapled together in a program called HitFilm. Pretty simple. Now we talk about the software side of stuff, let's start talking about the hardware side of things, starting with my computer. Originally I started with this 13-inch late 2012 MacBook Pro. It's pretty past it now and just gathers dust. It still powers on but is pretty slow by modern day standards. Then I bought this, a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, when my channel started picking up. This one still runs great and at the moment it is being used by Miss Plainly, who does my video proof watching and general channel admin from. It also doubles up as my backup, just in case my main computer has to do updates or is out of action. And this leads us on to my current main computer. This is a 2022 16-inch MacBook Pro, the M1 Max. Pretty much everything is done on this machine. Right, let's move on to what you hear my voice through. Originally, starting out, I had this Rode NT1A. It's a great condenser, but it didn't really match my voice. Next came along this, the NGK3, also made by Rode. This was a godsend in a noisy block of flats that we were living in at the time. It now acts as my backup mic because later on I moved to this, the YouTuber's Essential, the Shure SM57. This is a great microphone and it's what you're listening to me on now. I also have an SM57 and a strange old German Ure mic. This all goes through the Audient ID 14, as well as an ASP800, which is used for inputting my musical equipment into Logic. These two talk to each other via ADAT, although I think it's a bit of a one-way conversation. For field recording, I use this app called Rode Reporter on my phone. I also use it for humming in song ideas, but I've just purchased this, which I'm really looking forward to playing with. To patch my inputs and outputs, I have two Art T patches, one working normalised for outputs, and for inputs is actually turned around to work as just insert points. Right, monitoring. When I first started Plainly Difficult, I had just sold my Yamaha NS10s, and all I had were these Sennheiser HD280s. As you can see, these have seen better days. I've replaced the cups and cables a couple of times, but I have had these headphones since 2004, so not too bad. Nowadays I use these Genelecs and they are great. Right, on to the cameras. I only use three, the first being my phone, which is an iPhone SE. I also have this lovely GoPro Hero 10, and this is mainly for whenever I need dash cam footage or other little bits and pieces, as well as taking smaller shots where I don't want to take a large camera with me. And finally, I have my Panasonic, which is what you're watching on now. So I do have some other equipment and I'll quickly list it off here, and it is mainly music stuff. Here is my prized SH101. This is a brilliant monophonic vintage 1980s synthesizer. Then I have this, which is quite recent, the Dreadbok Nymphs polyphonic synthesizer, which is also very good and has 6-note polyphony. I have a Behringer TD3, which was a bit of a whim purchase, but everyone likes a little bit of acid house. And then there's this little groove box, which has pretty much changed my life in terms of composing music, which is the Teenage Engineering OPZ. And finally, I also have a Tascam 414 Mark II for all my lo-fi music. Again, similar to my voiceover stuff, the music is recorded and edited in Logic. As you may or may not know, I also play the guitar. But most of my guitars are stored away at the moment because my daughter thinks it's fun to try and strum them in the middle of the night. And I don't want my worst fear for my Les Paul becoming beheaded, so it rarely sees the light of day until my house gets some internal doors. So for now, my Frankenstein Strat does the job, which is a Strat Plus body with a 2001 USA standard neck and electronics. I've owned this guitar since 2004 and it really feels like an old pair of shoes to me, nice and comfortable. I've also got this Fender amp, which sounds pretty good with the TD3 running through it. Oh yes, and I've got loads of pedals that I've accumulated over the years, and they range from clean to pretty dusty. Oh yes, and the most vital parts in any setup, a wooden tissue box and a 1970s dial phone that can only receive calls now and not make them thanks to BT's digital voice rubbish. So that's the place I sit to make both channels videos and music. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I'll do another video when everything has moved. I've got plans. Maybe I'll try out getting an Atari ST or even a reel-to-reel tape player. Who knows? And whatever can I get away with Mrs. Plainly. Thank you for watching, and today the weather is pretty rubbish.